So in today's lecture, we'll be covering up with value education, what value education is, then the self-exploration and happiness versus prosperity. So what value education is? The character-oriented education that instills basic values and ethnic values in one's physique is called value-based education. The subject that enables us to understand what is valuable for human happiness is called value education. So it is important to help everyone in improving the value system that he or she holds and puts it into the use. Once one has understood his or her values in life, he or she can examine and control the various choices she makes in his her life. So value education enables us to understand our needs and visualize our goals correctly. And it also helps to remove our confusions and contradictions and bring harmony at all the levels. So it also helps to remove our confusions and contradictions and enables us to rightly utilize the technological innovations as well. The values form the basis for all the thoughts, behavior, and actions. Once we know what is valuable to us, these values becomes the basis, the anchor for our action. We also need to understand the universality of various human values because only then we can have a definite and a common program for the value education. The only we can be assured of happy and harmonious human society. That's why value education that is considered as a very, very important task in our life because you can say it is a process by which people give the moral values to each other. So if we have the values, only then we'll be able to give the values to others as well as we'll be able to learn the values, to learn the moral values from others as well. So talking about the process of value education, the process of value education has to be that of self-exploration, which includes the two things. One, verification at the level of natural expectance, and second, experiential validation in living. So self-exploration is the process to find out what is valuable to me by investigating within myself. So what self-exploration, exploring yourself, what is right for me, what I'm thinking, what is true for me has to be just within myself. Through self-exploration, we get the values of ourselves. So various aspects of reality facilitating the understanding of human values will be presented as proposals. So we need to verify these proposals for ourselves and examine our living in this light. So what the process of value education says? It says that value education is verified by two things, like at the level of natural acceptance, how I expect the things naturally, and by experiential validation, by learning, by observing the others in my life. So the very purpose, the main purpose, the main function of education is the development of all around and well balanced personality of the students as well, and also to develop all the dimensions you can say of either the human intellect so that our children can help to make our nation more democratic. So consequently, the other aspect of the personality, whether it's physical, emotional, and social and spiritual, are not, properly developed in providing the growth of attitudes, habits, values, skills among the pupils. It is here that we talk in the terms of value education. It's a complete description, in fact, of what value education is. It would entail a study in ourselves that what we want to learn. There are corroborating findings by many researchers after analyzing and studying the descriptions of such researchers. The definition of value education may be started as a societal endeavor, and it's an activity during like why young people are assisted by adults or older people in schools, families, homes, clubs, and villages and other organizations to make explicit those underlying their own attitudes. So, in short, In layman language, you can say value education is related with the morality, that what moral values we have, we should help others to learn that, and we should also have that learning capability to learn the good things, to learn the moral values from others as well. So according to C.V. Good, value education is an aggregate of all the processes by means of which a person develops abilities, attitudes, and other forms of behavior of the positive values in the society in which we live. So the content of value education, the subject that enables us to understand what is valuable for human happiness, is called the value education. The scope of value education, it includes all the dimensions, our thoughts, our behavior, and the work how we do, realization at all the levels, in the individual level, and the family level, at the society level, and the nature existence as well. So accordingly, the content of value education, it will be to understand myself, my aspirations, my happiness, and you can also be able to understand the goals of human life comprehensively. So to other the other entities in nature, the inner interconnectedness, the coexistence in nature existence, and finally the role of human being in this nature existence entirely. Hence, it has to encompass understanding of harmony at various levels, and finally learning to live in accordance with this understanding by being vigilant to one's thoughts, behavior, and work. So if I talk about like what are the objectives, what is the main objective of value education? So main objective, various objectives of value education, you can analyze that it's the full development of child's personality, whether it's the physical one, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects. So value education also inculcates the good manners and of a responsible cooperative citizen as well. So it also helps in developing the respect for the dignity of an individual as well as in society. So it also, value education also helps to inculcate the spirit of patriotism and national integration as well. It develops a democratic way of your thinking and the way of your living. So it also helps to develop the tolerance power towards the understanding of different religious faiths as well. So such types of objectives, you through these objectives, you will be easily, it will be easily understandable that value education, that is very, very important in today's life. The next comes the basic guidelines for value education. So the subject that enables us to understand what is valuable for human happiness is called value education. So in order to qualify for any course on value education, the following guidelines for the content of course are important. First one is the universal. So it needs to be applicable to all the human beings, irrespective of caste, creed, nationality, religion, etc., for all the times and regions. Rational. It has to appeal to human reasoning. It has to be amendable to reasoning and not based on dogmas or blind beliefs. Natural and verifiable. So it has to be naturally accepted to the human being who goes through the course, and when we live on the basis of such values, it leads to our happiness. It needs to be experientially verifiable and not based on dogmas, beliefs, or assumptions. Next, value education is aimed at transforming our consciousness and living. Hence, it needs to cover all the dimensions and all the levels. Dimensions I talked about: your thinking, your thought, your behavior, the work, and your realization. Whereas if I talk about the levels, which is the individual level, family level, society level, nature and existence level of human being life and profession, and leading to harmony. So the value education ultimately is targeted to promote harmony within the individual, among the human beings, and with the nature. So these are the basic guidelines for value education, that it should be universal, you should be rational, that should be natural and verifiable, your value education, all encompassing, that it should be aimed at transforming our consciousness and living, and it should lead to the harmony as well, the cordial relationship with the people. Then talking about the need of value education. So the subject that enables us to understand what is valuable for human happiness is called value education. So the need for value education is correct identification of our aspirations. So the subject that enables us to understand what is valuable for human happiness is called value education. Hence, value education helps us to understand our needs and visualize our goals correctly, and also indicate the direction for their fulfillment. It also helps to remove our confusions and contradictions and bring harmony at all the levels. Next, understanding of universal human values to fulfill our aspirations in continuity. So values form the basis for all the thoughts, behaviors, and actions. Once we know that what is valuable to us, these values becomes the basis, the anchor for our actions. We also need to understand the universality of various human levels. Why? Because only then we can have a definite and a common program for the value education. So then only we can be assured of human harmony and happy human society. Then complementarity of values and skills. Both should complement to each other, whether these are the values and that are the skills. So to fulfill our aspirations, both values and skills are necessary. When we identify and set the right goal and produce in the right direction, this is known as value domain, the domain of wisdom. What is value domain? That when we identify and set the right goals and produce that right goals into the right direction, that is called as a value domain, the domain of wisdom. And when we learn and practice to actualize the goal, to develop the techniques to make this happen in the real life, various dimensions of that human struggle, that is called the domains of skills. So hence, there is an essential complementary between the values and skills for the success of any human endeavor. So, for example, if I want to lead a healthy life, only wishing for good health, that will not help my body to be fit and healthy. And without having understood the meaning of health, I will not be able to choose things correctly and to keep my body fit and healthy. Then evaluation of our beliefs. So each one of us believes in certain things and we base our values on that, these beliefs. So whether they either can be true or they can be false, which may or may not be true in reality as well. So these beliefs come to us from what we read, what we see, hear, and what our parents tell us. And our friends talk about, what we read in the magazines and what we see from televisions, etc. So value education helps to evaluate our beliefs and assume value. And last, technology and human values. So the present education system has become largely skill-based. So the prime emphasis is on science and technology. However, science and technology can only help to provide the means to achieve what is considered a value. So it is not within the scope of science and technology to provide the competence of deciding that what really is valuable. So value education, it's a crucial mixing link in the present education system. Because of this deficiency, most of our efforts may prove to be counterproductive and serious crisis at the various levels, the individual, the social and the environmental level are manifested. So these are the needs of value education Like the first, correct identification of our aspirations. Like we should analyze that what is valuable for human happiness, understanding the universal value to fulfill our aspirations in the continuity for leading a human happy and harmonious life. Then skills and values both are necessary. Then evaluation of our belief. We should evaluate our belief. We should think twice before doing anything, that what is right and what is wrong. And technology and human values. So before moving to the next topic, I'm going to show you a short video regarding the value education, that why value education is regarded as an important part.
Welcome kids to Value Education class.
Gattu's best friend. Long time ago, in a city, there lived a 7-year-old boy named Gattu. He used to live with his parents. Gattu was very good in both sports and academics, and that is why his parents and his teachers were very happy with him. There was a boy named Rahul in Gattu's class. Rahul and Gattu were very good friends. While Gattu was very gullible, on the other hand, Rahul was very mischievous. He always used to plan some mischievous act in his mind. Then one day the teacher told the students present in class, "Students, tomorrow I will take English exam. So everybody come prepared for tomorrow's exam. And remember, whoever will get poor marks, I will take that student to the principal, sir." Hearing this, Gattu got scared.
Principal sir is very strict, so tomorrow I will come prepared for the exam.
After the school got over, Gattu went straight back to home, and after having some food, he started studying. While he was studying, it got evening, when suddenly Rahul came into Gattu's room.
Hey Rahul, when did you come to my house?
"I came here to take you to the park. Let's go to the park and play."
But today I can't go to the park. I still have to read 2 more chapters. You also go home and prepare for tomorrow's exam.
"You know very well, it doesn't matter how many times I try, but I can't remember these chapters."
Okay, then you go and play in the park and you will pass the exam by copying from me.
The next day, they did the same as they decided. When the exam started, at first Gattu completed his own paper in a hurry. And then he let Rahul, who was sitting near to him, copy from his paper and helped him in cheating. Seeing Rahul get 10 out of 10, the teacher thought, "Rahul spends all his day doing mischiefs. Then how could he get 10 out of 10? Thinking this, the teacher told the students, "Students, tomorrow I will take your maths exam." Hearing this, Gattu told Rahul,
Rahul, don't worry. I will help you in tomorrow's exam also.
The next day, like always, they both sat together to give the exam. But then suddenly the teacher told Gattu, "Gattu, you sit here with Sona."
But teacher, I always sit here with Rahul.
"But today you will sit here." After the teacher said so, Gattu came and sat beside Sona, and Rahul gave the exam sitting all alone. Gattu was upset, so he finished his paper early. But all the time, Rahul kept thinking, "I don't know the answer to a single question. What to do now?" Seeing Rahul fail, Gattu and Rahul started crying.
You told me that you will let me copy from your exam paper.
Sorry, Rahul, but the teacher changed my seat.
Seeing them cry, the teacher came closer and said, making them understand, Rahul, I knew. You always pass the exam by copying from Gattu's answer sheet. So knowingly I changed both of your sitting arrangements. And Gattu, more than Rahul, you need to learn this. Good friends always stop their friends from making mistakes. They don't hide their mistakes. So kids, what did you learn from this story? We should never hide our friends' mistakes. But, like a good friend, we should always stop our friends from making mistakes.
अगर
So from this video, you are able to know that why value education is important, because it helps to understand the moral values. It helps others to learn the moral values from us, plus it helps us to learn the moral values from others as well. So we should never hide the mistakes, the flaws of people, or in fact, we should also work on our flaws. We should ask our friends, ask our peer groups, ask our family that what are the faults in us. So you should be easily working on that and covering up all the faults, all the flaws. So that's why value education is regarded as an important aspect. The next, talking about the self-exploration. So what self-exploration is? Self-exploration, that is exploring yourself, exploring me, by investigating my within me. So what is right for me, what is true for me, has to be just within myself. Through self-exploration, we get the value of ourselves. We live with a different entirety, with our family, with our friends, with air, soil, water, trees, etc. And we want to understand our relationship with all of this. Like we should behave in a very polite manner with the family. We should respect our elders. We should be very friendly with our environment as well. We should not pollute the environment. We should not waste the water. We should not cut the trees. Everything, like we should explore ourselves, that whatever action I am doing, is it right for me? Is it good for me, or is it bad from me? Then I should be able to judge myself that what is self-exploration is. So the main focus of self-exploration is myself, the human being. Content of self-exploration is just finding the answers of the following fundamental questions: the desire, the goal. What is my desire? The human's desire. What is my goal? So what do I really want in my life, or what is the goal of my human life? If I'm going to work in an organization, what goal I'm carrying with me? Whether I'm carrying the individual goal, which is the salary making, or whether I'm carrying the organization's goal with me, which is profit making for my organization. So program. What is the program for fulfilling the desire? What action I am taking for fulfilling that particular goal? Then how I will fulfill that particular goal? So what is the program to actualize the above desire, goal and programs as well? So in short, the above two questions cover the whole domain of human aspirations and human endeavor. Hence, they form the content of self-exploration. So what is the need of self-exploration? Self-exploration is the process to find out what is valuable to me by investigating within myself, that what is right for me, what is true for me. So it depends upon the two aspects, which is the natural acceptance and the experiential validation. So if I talk about the natural acceptance, it implies unconditional and total acceptance of the self. people, and environment. It also refers to absence of any exception from others. So once we fully and truly commit ourselves on the basis of natural acceptance, we feel a holistic sense of inner harmony. So experiential validation, it is a process that infuses direct experience with the learning environment and the content. So it may be regarded as a philosophy and a methodology in which the direct experience and the focused reflection of the individuals helps to increase knowledge, develop skills, and clarify the values. So self-exploration takes place in the self and not in the body. So self-exploration, it is the process to find out what is valuable to me by investigating within myself. So through self-exploration, we get the value of ourselves. It is a process of focusing attention on ourselves, our present beliefs, our aspiration, and what we really want to be. That to that we called as a naturally acceptable. So if these two are same and if there is no problem, if one of the investigation we find that these two are not same, then it means that we are living with this contradiction of not being that what we really want to be. And hence we need to resolve the contradiction, the conflict within us. It is a process of discovering that there is something innate, invariant, universal in all human beings. So this enables us to look at our confusions and contradictions within and resolve them by becoming aware of our natural acceptance. So, and next comes the purpose of self-exploration. So self-exploration is the process to find out what is valuable to me by investigating within myself what is right for me, true for me, and has to be judged within myself. And the purpose of self-exploration, it's a process of dialogue between what you are and what you really want to be. So it is a process of focusing attention on ourselves, our present beliefs, our aspirations, and what we really want to be. If these two are same, then there is no problem. And if on investigation, we find that these two are not same, then it means that we are living in some confusion. We are living with the contradiction of not being that what we really want to be. And hence, we need to resolve this confusion, this conflict within us. It is a process of discovering that there is something innate, invariant, and universal in all human beings. Then it is a process of self-evolution through self-investigation. So how, like, self-exploration basically it bridges the gap between that what we are and where we want to be, what we want to be. That's why it's a process of self-evolution through self-investigating us. So it successively enables us to evolve by bridging the gap between what we are and what we want to be. Hence, the self-exploration leads to our own improvement, our self-evolution. We will become qualitatively better. So it is a process of knowing oneself and through that knowing the entire existence. So the exploration starts by asking the simple questions about ourselves, which gives the clarity about our being and then clarity about everything around us. Then it is a process of recognizing one's relationship with every unit in existence and in fulfilling it. So self-exploration, it is a process of becoming aware about our right relationships with others, entities in existence, and through that, the discovering the interconnectedness, coexistence, and other in the entire existence and living accordingly. Then you can say it is also a process of knowing human conduct, human character, and living accordingly. It is a process of discovering the definitiveness of human conduct and character and enabling one to define in the thoughts, behavior, and the work. It's a process of being in harmony in oneself and in harmony with entire existence. So this process of self-exploration helps us to be in harmony with ourselves and with everything around us. So it is a process of identifying our innateness and moving towards self-organization and self-expression. So this process of self-exploration helps us to identify that what these, how Swata falls through acquiring the Swatantra and Swarajya. So innateness of self, the natural acceptance of harmony, that is Swatantra. So being self-organized, being in harmony with oneself. And what Swarajya? The self-expression, the self-extension, living in harmony with us. So Swatavya, that leads to Swatantra, and Swatantra, that leads to Swarajya. So in the self-exploration, we would be able to learn all these things, innateness of self. So intact in one of us, by being in dialogue with it, we try to attain Swatantra, enabling us to work for Swarajya. So living in confusion, in the contradiction, means we are not self-organized and living with the preconditioning where we have assumed certain things, have accumulated desires without having first evaluated them. Then it means that we are Partantra. On the other hand, when we identify our innateness, that what we really want to be, and establish a dialogue with it, it enables us to start living with this harmony. It starts expressing itself through our harmonious behavior and work, and it naturally extends to our participation with the surroundings. This is working towards Swarajya. So till now, clear that what Swattva is. Swattva means innateness of self, that is naturally acceptance of harmony. Swatantrata, which means being self-organized, that is being in harmony with oneself. And Swarajya, that means self-expression and self-extension, that is living in harmony with others. So the next comes natural acceptance. So natural acceptance implies unconditional and total acceptance of self, people, and environment. So it also refers to absence of any exception from others once we fully and truly commit ourselves on the basis of natural acceptance. We feel a holistic sense of inner harmony, tranquility, and fulfillment. Actually, natural acceptance is a way to accept the good things naturally, learn everything that is good from others, but bring it in and in your own way to absorb it. Do not become others. We can easily verify proposals on the basis of characteristics of natural acceptance mentioned below. First, natural acceptance does not change with time. So it remains invariant with time. For example, our natural acceptance for trust and respect, it does not change with age. It does not depend on the place. So whatever we have accepted in our life at any time of our age does not change, even if we move from one place to another. So it does not depend on our beliefs or our past conditioning. No matter how deep our belief or past conditioning it is, as long as we ask ourselves the questions sincerely, as long as we refer deep within ourselves, the answer will always be remain the same. So this natural acceptance is constantly there, something we can refer to. Natural acceptance is always there. Whatever we do, this natural acceptance is within us. It is telling us what is right for us. So natural acceptance is the same for all of us. It is a part and parcel of every human being. It is a part and parcel of humanness. So though each one of us may have different likes and dislikes, and we have different ways, means of living and to react. But if we go deep into our mind, the purpose of our work, our behavior, our efforts are based on common goals like need to be happy, need to be respected, need to get the prosperity. So our basic acceptance remains the same. Then what happiness is and what prosperity is. So happiness may be defined as being in harmony, synergy in state, situation that I live in, a state of situation in which I live. If there is harmony in it, then I like to be in that state situation. The state of liking is called happiness. So what happiness is? Happiness is a state of mind or feeling characterized by contentment, love, satisfaction, pleasure, or joy. It may be described as consisting of positive emotions and positive activities. There may be three kinds of happiness, that is pleasure, engagement, and meaning. So in other words, freedom from want and distress, consciousness of good order of things, and assurance of one's place either in the universe or in the society, inner peace, and so forth. So happiness is the state of mind where we feel good in most of the walk of life. That is happiness. And if I talk about the prosperity, so what prosperity is, it is the feeling of having or making available more than required physical facilities. That is prosperity. So almost all of us feel that wealth alone means prosperity and try to explain this phenomena on this non-existent or half fact. So we are trying to achieve happiness and prosperity by maximizing accumulation and consumption of physical facilities. It is becoming anti-logical and anti-people and threatening the human survival itself. For prosperity, two things are required. First, that is identification of required quantity of physical facilities. And another one, ensuring availability and production of more than required the physical facility. So we can be prosperous only if there is a limit to the need for physical facilities. And if there is no limit whatsoever be availability, the feeling of prosperity cannot be assured. Secondly, just assessing the need is not enough. We need to be able to produce or more make available more than the perceived need. So that is happiness and prosperity. So the next is prosperity and wealth. So prosperity, it's a feeling of having more than required physical facilities. It is not just the physical facilities. Almost all of us feels that wealth alone means prosperity and try to explain this phenomena on this non-existent of half the fact. But wealth is just a physical thing. It means having money or having a lot of physical facilities or both. This is very, very important distinction. So we mostly fail to make this difference today. We keep working on wealth without realizing the basic desire is for the feeling of prosperity is to have a feeling of having enough. So we are trying to achieve happiness and prosperity by maximizing accumulation and consumption of the physical facilities. So a person having lot of money but does not have to share even a bit of it. The person has wealth but feels deprived. If one felt prosperous, she would have shared what one has, since there is lot more than enough wealth anyway. Next. So to achieve our basic aspirations, we need to work for the right understanding on which we can work for relationship and then the physical facilities. So today we are not working according to this. That is why we can see there are two kinds of people in the world. So those who do not have the physical facilities, wealth, and feel unhappy and deprived, they are called SVDD, Sadhan Vihin Dukhi Daridra, which is materially deficient, unhappy, and deprived people. So these people fall in this category. Those people who does not have the physical facilities, don't have the wealth, and feels unhappy and deprived all the time. In next, SSDD. So those people who have physical facilities, have wealth, but still are unhappy and dry. They are Sadhan, Sampan, Dukhi, Daridra. Materially affluent, unhappy, and deprived. But these are the states we don't want to be. We want to move from this to the third category. And now the third category, which is being introduced, that is SSSS, which is Sadhan, Sampan, Sukhi, Samriddha, which means having physical facilities and having feeling happy and prosperous as well, which is materially adequate, happy, and prosperous. So presently, as we look around, we find most of the people in above two categories called SVDD and SSDD, while the natural acceptance of all the human beings is to be in the category of SSSS. Whatever we have, we think like this. We should thank the God for whatever God is giving us. We should ask ourselves to fall in the category of this, which is materially adequate, happy, and prosperous. So vision of happy and prosperous life. We are trying to achieve happiness and prosperity by maximizing accumulation and consumption of the physical facilities. So some of the consequences, I'm talking about the levels. There were the dimensions and the levels. Dimensions are thinking, our behavior, our actions, natural existence. In talking about the levels, which were individual, family, society, and nature. So at the level of individual, rising problems of depression, psychological disorders, suicide, stress, and insecurity. And if I talk about the level of family, that is the breaking of joint families, mistrust and conflict between older and younger generation, insecurity in the relationship, divorce, dowry tortures, etc. All, in today's life, all these things are happening because people are not keeping themselves in the category of natural acceptance. They are just in the category of having more and more. That's why there are the problems in today's life. So at the level of society, growing incidents of terrorism, nationalism, rising communalism, spreading casteism, racial and ethnic struggle, wars between nations, etc. And if I talk about the nature, again, global warming, water, air pollution, soil, noise, etc. Pollution, resource depletion of minerals and mineral oils, etc. So all these problems are a direct outcome of an incorrect understanding, a wrong notion about happiness and prosperity and their continuity, which is serious exploration, a serious issue for an exploration. So we should avoid all things. We should always think. We should try to keep ourselves happy. If we'll be happy, we'll definitely keep our surroundings, our family, everyone happy. So it's easily said that we should live in a happy and prosperous life. Happiness and prosperity, it's a basic human aspiration. So learning from this theory, we should apply all these things in our practical life. We should not consider it as a theoretical part. We should definitely think that yes, happiness and prosperity, they are basic human aspirations. So thank you, students. This was all about today's lecture.